I think when you change your own frame of mind instead of expecting the child or the family to change, I think that you become a much better educator, a listener, just somebody that can really not sympathize with the family, because none of us want sympathy, but empathize with them.
And so he needs somewhere at school that he can, I hate to say this, but hide. You know, it's too bad that you even have to hide. I wish that we could make more people aware of it. It's hard as a parent to watch him go through this and not really know what the answers are and what to do.
So just listen. Listen to what they have to say, listen to what the children are saying, and I think that there's the potential for success all the way around really increases and makes for a much happier school year for everyone. This is my family in the morning. This morning, the first one I start with is Chloe. She's my 11-year-old daughter, and she was injured at 4 months of age by being shaken, and she's our adopted daughter. We've had her since she was a year old. Get your clothes, pay attention to what you're doing. Shelly has to be directed a lot. She has fetal alcohol syndrome and is nonverbal. She is probably on the autism spectrum with pervasive developmental disabilities. Sydney is the one that we're kind of worried about right now. She's had 21 neurosurgeries since she was a newborn. Her skull has been reconstructed this last time. Also a what we call a orbital advancement, which means this part of her face was moved forward. And here's my little Sophia. She may look like a baby, but she's actually 4 going on 15. Really kind of interesting, but Sophia has grew 3 inches in one surgery because they keep expanding her back and straightening it out because she was born with a really severe scoliosis. My youngest 6 children are all adopted. They all came out of the foster care system. They all had their own issues when they were born, whether it was with medical issues or exposure to drugs. With all the kids pretty much doing okay, even Chloe being pretty stable right now has been really a wonderful thing. But as a family, we definitely don't do it by ourselves. But we rely on my parents, my sisters, my husband's family, and we also rely on, most especially the schools, the teachers, the counselors, the therapists, when it comes down to doing their IEPs. I mean, all of it is really about a community. And I can honestly say that for my house, for my children, it really is taking that proverbial village to raise a child, because we really look to community resources to make sure that our kids' lives have the most quality to them as possible.
Sean is diagnosed with autism. He was diagnosed about 2.5 years old. He also has a medical condition, an AVM of the liver, which causes a chronic liver condition.
The whole thought process behind inclusion is to take your child into the regular ed setting and bring the supports to him. What normally happens is they do take children and they separate them out for speech, they separate them out for OT, they separate them out for all the related services that they need, and they're not with their peers. Those peers are always going to view them as there's something wrong with them. He doesn't get the importance of his communication. And I think he doesn't get it because he's not with his peers. The whole system is confused about what they're supposed to be doing. They're not getting the skills that they need, that when they graduate out of the school system to go into society and be productive human beings. And it's not going to change quickly, but there's signs right now that it's going even more backward instead of forward. We really need to concentrate on, what is the purpose of special education? Is it to increase scores? Or is it to prepare the child to be a successful human being outside of the school environment in his future? It's not happening.
All we ask is that, give him the chance that you give every other student. And if you don't, you're not doing him or yourself or the community any services.
My son is Cameron. He has a diagnosis of high-functioning autism, Tourette syndrome, OCD, ADHD, speech delays. That's pretty much it. like it's not enough. I feel like I've been on this quest, and it's been a difficult quest, figuring out his diagnosis, figuring out how to deal with it today, figuring out how to deal with it next week and next year and when he's an adult. I was in the hallway with the special ed teacher and I said, can we look into some adaptive technology for him? And she stood there in the hallway and she said to me, well, I don't think he needs that. And I was just really taken back by that, and I was like, did you even talk to me about it? So I know him better than anybody. So, you know, my opinion might be important to you if you listen. So as far as parents and teachers go, to the parents, at the end of the day, you got to stand up for your kids because nobody else will. And as far as the teachers go, I think most of the teachers are wonderful. I know they don't get paid much, and yet they stick it out and they do a great job, and they're overwhelmed and overloaded. I think the parents' input is probably 80% of what you could learn from us. And it would make your jobs a lot easier because then you know what we're up against.
One of the first doctors that was specialized in Elena's diagnosis of trisomy 21 was the geneticist.
So we found our way to the school, to the conference room where they were holding the IEP meeting. And when we got there, the school district was all present around the conference room table, and they had taken all the chairs at the table, and over on the side were a few preschool chairs, and so that's where we were invited to sit. It said a lot right at the beginning that parents don't have much to say about this child. And in the end, we got to the page of the IEP where we either agree to it or disagree to it. Well, having sat here for 3 days, there were certainly things that we agreed with and wanted to start those right away, but there were others that we just didn't see would fit Elena at all. So I took a third section of the page and wrote in, we agree with these certain things and not others, and we signed this. The district took that as a no and didn't provide any services at that time. The school district attorney and ours both agreed that the mediated hearing wouldn't get us anywhere more, so we'd go right to the due process hearing. What sounds like a simple meeting to kind of resolve issues is really a court case, but the attorney is trying to twist what you say, make you feel like you're not a parent.
Because I'm a pretty strong person, I never thought I would cry on the stand, and she brought me to tears. It was very intimidating, not an easy process. For me, it told me that they did not understand what that geneticist told us, that a child with Down syndrome can do anything any other child does, it just takes them longer. If there was one thing we had really advocated for Elena, it was that she was just a kid and that she could do what other children do. And we needed to provide her a regular life.
We've been very fortunate to deal with a lot of excellent teachers and very few that aren't. And I think that it's important for people who are in the education field to understand what a great impact they make on an individual's life. We've had very good experiences. Teachers have worked with us very, very well and have been very helpful for the most part. Occasionally, we have worked with people who aren't as understanding and as communicative with us as parents, and that can lead to problems with the IEP process. For the most part, it's been a very positive experience for us. I know it's not always that way for people, and I think it makes all the difference in the world in the collaborative process between educators and parents.
One of the key elements to having a positive IEP seems to be starting off on a positive note, and it's important to address deficits. It's important to stress areas that need work, but framing that in a positive manner is key.
I'm very proud that he's going, and I think it's going to be a good experience for him to learn how to take care of himself and to learn about the other kids at school and how to hang out with the other kids and be independent, you know. And that's one of the big good things about going to school is that you're going to be independent. Mick has wanted to do this, and I've wanted him to do this. I'm selfishly worried that I won't have him here because I've always had him here, and I don't know what I'll do when he's gone because I miss him all the time. And
what do you do without me?
I don't know what I'll do without you.
Do you visit some teachers' mind here?
No, I think I'll wind up going to your school and visiting you when you don't want me to.
Oh.
He's always been my teacher, and he will always be my teacher.
Might be a teacher.
Yeah, you're my teacher because I learn things from you. Do you learn things from me?
No.
We're done.
You really need to look at children that don't seem to have a lot of potential with all the potential in the world.
You know, the whole point of special education is to prepare this child for his future. And what's happening is they're separating and segregating the children and putting them in specialized classrooms where they're not with their peers.
And so for me, that'll make me cry. It's immensely frustrating to try to help other people see that. Your child just wants to be a child. Your child just wants to have a life. She needs to have the right to do that, including the teachers, the doctors, whoever's involved. I really believe if we work as a team, everybody with their expertise, whether that's the parent being the expert on the child, the school district being the expert on education, the doctor being the expert on medical, and then you bring it all together, you can really win. But as a parent, I have to answer in 22 years, did I make the right choice? Did I give her every opportunity to learn?
So as far as what the teachers can do and all that, pay attention to the little things. That's my biggest statement, is pay attention to the little things. Because at the end of the day, those little things add up.